I'm Scotty T from Your Comedy Minute, and I have two of my favorite comedians from California, Gini Sikes and Meryl Klemow, are here. Thank you,
Woo!
ladies, so much for giving me your time.
Oh, we have plenty of it.
It's an honor to have you both here together.
Thank you. And also don't ask about what's going on behind us. You
Yeah,
don't want.
I got to be honest. I thought about this. I must have been crazy to do this because I have a hard enough time getting along with one woman, let alone two women together. I'm out of my damn mind.
Right. This plus
By
whatever
the
is
end,
here.
by the end, I will have pissed one or both of you off. That's my prediction.
I
We're
always
ready.
tell people that's my skin dog back there.
I don't even want to ask. I'm not even. I'm just glad there's no dildo or anything else hanging out.
Oh God, no, no, there'll never
Let's
be anything
first
like that
start with,
here.
and I'm be sincere and very little why I'm serious, but thank God you two are okay from the wildfires that were out there. Ginny, you had posted a video on Instagram and you were in a car and you looked pretty shaken up. And I just want you guys to know I'm so glad you're okay. I hope your families and everyone
Yeah, I mean, both of us are, but I have friends who've lost their homes, and
yeah.
I haven't been to Pacific Palisades since it burned, but my doctor was there, and it's just weird that it's just
Well, I was not only worried about you and Meryl, but Helen Shepard and everyone I know there.
Yeah.
I was
Helen
worried
had
about
to
everybody.
evacuate. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
But she was okay.
I'm glad that
yeah.
all of you are okay. All right,
Thank
enough of
you.
that serious bullshit. Let's move
Oh,
on.
Scott, Maria Bamford lost her home.
It's
And she was posting online, with her husband, asking people if they knew of, places where they could go to, rent in the meantime. So
Oh my gosh. And
yeah.
the place that she performs, that's really cool. The public displays of Altadena completely burnt down. That's a really
right.
cool place to
Yeah.
perform.
Well, it's and then followed up by mudslides and everything else going out there.
It's crazy.
I blame it all on Gavin Newsom. I blame it all on him. It's all his fault. I think. I
Locusts
think.
are coming soon.
What's that?
I've been seeing locusts in my bath.
Locust. Locust is coming next.
The environment
Well,
is right for stand-up comedy and performing to eight people.
all right. Now you already
Oh,
got me
yeah,
gay.
yeah.
I'm going to try and keep, some kind of, form going here for people that both of you have been on the show before. But and I'm going to start with Ginny first, to take me, in other words, you're both in California, obviously, but you were originally in Wisconsin, born in Wisconsin. Is that right? So if you could
Correct.
just take us through, give us, try and do a little backstory there, catch us up how we got from Wisconsin to California, the capsulized version. And then Meryl, we're going to do the same thing with you, only yours is New York and Pennsylvania,
True.
Well, okay. I grew up in Wisconsin, which is
right?
known as a dairy state, and it's the deadly dairy state. Like, I might have said this before to you. I covered the case of the dairy princess who strangled
Yes,
the homecoming queen.
yes,
Uh,
you did.
but prior to that, no, when I was growing up, we lived 30 miles away from where Ed Gein did, slaughtered and ate people or
Right?
made. My mother, like on the breakfast table, would go, "Oh my God, Ed Gein's up for parole." And she just talk about, she just said, "Oh, he made women into lampshades and a nipple belt."
The nipple.
Yeah, and then she told us my aunt lived by Charlie Manson, so she would tell us all about that. And I used to have nightmares
This was
about,
in Wisconsin.
yeah, well, Charlie Manson was near my aunt in California, but
Oh,
my mother would just at breakfast table
hey,
tell us.
Meryl, did you know that she had her original like crush was Herman Munster?
Weirdly, I do know that. Yeah. I know
Wait,
that plus a lot of other things.
wait till she tells you her original crush. But my mother was very high strung. I actually have a joke about it, but she
You can do it. We won't get mad if
okay.
you do it.
So anytime anything like, it could be when like her father died or we ran out of half and half, she'd go, "That's it. I can't take anymore. I'm jumping off the Ramada Inn." And which was really scary to hear because our Ramada Inn was 4 stories and she could survive. But I remember when she was, and I love my mom, when she was dying of Alzheimer, my aunt kept going, I think your mother's suicidal. She keeps saying she's going to jump off the hotel. I said, she says that all the time.
He does that all the time.
And it was ironic. She never,
Meryl, we may never get to you.
Honestly, I'm just here to watch Ginny. Like I have.
this is the last thing.
I want you to include what happened to the Ramada Inn.
Well,
Okay.
but
It's second to last thing. I need her. Yeah.
Okay, she never fell out of anything except her bed, and that's what killed her. She
Oh
broke.
my God, really?
Yes.
But then wait, tell Scott what happened to the Ramada Inn because
there's
there's
a
ridiculous.
common theme to you, Ginny, and it's death.
Oh, you think? No, so anyway, we knew in our town, people who had everybody who jumped and survived because they formed a support group for failed jumpers.
Yeah.
And they held their meetings at the Ramada Inn. They called themselves Sad People Landing and Thriving, which is nice, but I guess I didn't notice the acronym was SPLAT. Anyways, Wisconsin was a morbid place, and I'm sure living with my family, that's what led to me becoming didn't lead to me becoming a comic because I did that just recently, but it sure gave
Well,
me.
and again, for people that don't go back and watch the first interview of both of these young women, fantastic ladies, because you did so much, Ginny. No, I'm sorry if I didn't, use your correct pronoun or whatever the fuck I was supposed to do. But like with Ginny, you had so much, like with Tiger Beat and all the magazines and the interviews and so much that you've done, you know. But I just thought we would try and move it along so we could get to some of the new stuff I have. Uh, but yeah, again, I was just curious. And again, we got a wonderful story there. Now, Meryl.
My PA friend.
Yeah, if I remember right, you're a big fan of the band Live from my hometown, York, Pennsylvania.
Yes, I would. I
You
told you.
threatened to come and visit me.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
Make me
say.
take you to meet these guys.
Oh my God. Well, I've already met some of them, but
Okay.
yes, I know all about like where they went to high school in Lancaster and like how they were in marching band. And so
Yeah.
I grew up in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I
Love
know.
it.
Wilkes-Barre, we mentioned that at the Kirby Center, and I love it up there.
Me too.
Did you
Yeah.
tell Scott about your crush as a kid?
No, you should know my first crush was the hamburger helper glove.
Oh, good Lord. Good
So
Lord.
I feel like out there was like a young Ginny and I just dreaming of like the Munsters and the hamburger helpers, knowing that we would meet one day.
I think the hamburger helper glove is a little sicker than
You know,
They're just like one,
It
well,
looks like mean to me, and that's my type.
looks like
Meryl,
It does.
Meryl, I hate to do
Yeah.
this, okay? But I said to Ginny that there's a common theme, and it's death. And with you, I've come to the realization in just this little bit that with soup and now the
Yeah.
hamburger.
Oh yeah. And like linguine, and I'm very food based. I'm like a food driven dog. Yes.
You took the words out of my
It's
mouth.
carbs. I honestly like a lot of my punchlines are like muffins or
Hey, you
like
froze
linguine.
up.
Like I have to actively only make sure I say linguine like less than times. Uh-oh.
Okay. Anyway,
I'm
so
frozen too.
Wilkes-Barre, and then how in the world did you end up? Well, and we'll get right to the next question, which how you got there, and then how did you become friends with Ginny?
Okay, I went to school in Syracuse in New York, and that was
Okay.
very, very cold, which led me to move out to the West Coast. And
Okay.
then I jumped into comedy stand-up. I was doing other stuff, and then I started stand-up around like 2019, right before the pandemic.
Oh, me
Okay.
too.
And then we met through the circuit, and I feel like, you just meet people that you really click with, and I love Ginny, and we got to do a show together and travel, I think the first time together. And then,
Meryl meets a lot of people, but I didn't know like she's particular, which you wouldn't guess because she's so friendly. Actually, I think you came to a show of mine
yes,
and
the
you
Hollywood
and
Roosevelt.
she was just like,
Well,
hi, you're gonna meet me.
I very much like I'm like an archer where I like if I see someone I like and I want to be friends with, I like shoot my bow and then you're just like a dead prey.
And now I know to be very flattered because I know when she doesn't like somebody.
Yeah.
you know what, and again, I write this stuff down, and sometimes I actually pretend like I know what I'm doing. That you guys did a Valentine's Day show together recently.
Yes.
Oh God, yeah.
And
Yeah. Oh
I
my God.
wondered, getting in with what we're talking about, you two met, you become friends, and we want to talk about the writing class too. And I'm jumping ahead, but I'm just curious when you do a show together like that, is there ever, like one of you feels real good, the other, or the other way around, or you're both always, I'm sure you're both supportive of one another.
Hmm?
Oh, I bombed at that. So because
She didn't bomb.
the mic was no, I did. When you're
I'm
friends, like
sorry. I'm
I
sorry.
would,
I'm an asshole. I'm an asshole. I
I'll
laugh
just
at the
tell you.
wrong shit.
Just be honest. I went up to my friends and I said something like that didn't go too well, and one said, "Yeah, you're right," and the other went, "Oh, it went well." I said, "I believe the other." I believe the guy who said it was because my mic went out. My mic kept going out.
Meryl, how was it? How was your
Well,
show?
it's so funny because I feel like I did less good than Ginny, but in my mind, I did just okay. It was fine. It was good enough.
She
All
did really.
right.
It was a
Uh,
tough, it was a weird ass crowd. It was Palm Springs, and they weren't necessarily comedy show fans. I think a lot of them
It was
didn't know
just
why
a
they were
free
there.
show from the hotel. And
Yeah.
we're just like
okay. All
wandering
right.
back and forth.
But it was a 20-minute set, and I told Ginny like every version of this just gets us better. And I feel like when I'm with someone like her, we're not competitive. It's like we're on the same team and we're
Right.
having
That's
experience.
what I was getting at and I didn't think you were competitive, but I just wondered, you know, is there time because you guys have done a couple shows together now, probably.
Yeah, we tried to do shows
Mhm.
together. Like,
Yeah.
it's
I
it.
would think just the fact that you
Meryl will drive.
yeah, no, and just the fact that you have a buddy there with you, I would no, does that mean you can drink?
No, it means I can't drive. I drive like shit.
Oh, okay, okay. I was thinking I didn't think you drank anymore. Let just because I'm curious, and again, you guys didn't mention it, but you guys take a writing class together.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me
Every
because I'm
Thursday we
curious,
meet
I'm
up.
curious about it. And I know we mentioned Sammy Larson Hernandez, and she said she wanted to do stuff with you, Ginny. She said her exact words, if you watched it, were that you're more concentrated on doing stand up. And yet, I'm wondering for both of you, do you have the writing classes, or you planning on trying to do some kind of
No, what we do is well, I would take some writing classes from a comic named Jen Sturger, but Meryl and I are in a writers group. So it's comics that get together and we throw our material out at each other and
is that what that is? Okay, I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. But
And do you,
but writing comedy is different from other kinds of writing. So I just find I've, usually I think what comics need most is they need feedback because you can't do it in a vacuum. I mean, you obviously have to test it at mics and stuff, but the wonderful thing is having people who can help you punch up the joke, like maybe come up with a line that you didn't think of.
okay. Meryl, what do you think about the writing group?
I love it, and I wanted to add as well that when you have friends that you do shows consistently with and write with, it is a treat to see when we do shows together and people and the crowd does get our work and get our stuff. It's like an extra added. Like I feel like I'm succeeding even more as well. Like
Yeah,
I was at a show. I feel like Ginny and I both sometimes can be like misunderstood or like we're weird, So when it hits and when people get us, like it makes it even better because I think sometimes like in California it's like hard to be weird, I think a
Yeah,
lot,
that's true.
and so, yeah, which doesn't seem like
really.
yeah, it's hard to be like cerebral and dark and twisted a lot, and be weird. So I think when I see friends like Ginny win, then I feel that way too because I don't
The,
know.
the other thing is our comedy is so different. I mean, we're both very random. We both will appreciate the same things, but
Right.
I think our styles, like she drew. So when we do a show, like I have my jokes written out on a piece of paper, and then I have like the first, some word to remember them. I don't take it up there, but I have it. And she just drew a picture of herself.
Mine was like a stick figure of me, and that was my 20-minute set.
And the thing is about Meryl, I mean, she's like, well, she worked in radio, so she has this wonderful gift of being able to just get up and talk and tell a story. I never performed before comedy, so I'm much more, I need to have it more in my head, and I wish I had more of what she
Mm.
has.
And I wish I had more, but
But
you have
but
like
we
discipline
Yeah,
but
you both are wonderful. You both are wonderful. And if I can just interject real quick, because Meryl, when you were on, if I remember right, you really loved doing the podcast stuff almost as much as doing the stand-up. Is that correct?
Yeah, I feel like for me,
I thought so. I thought
yeah, I
I
like
didn't want to
being part
overspeak,
of
but I
stuff.
thought that was what you told me.
Yeah, yeah. I like bouncing off. It sounds weird. I like bouncing off of people, but I like responding to people and just being part
That's the way I feel.
of
I
it.
feel the same way. I'm better going, rather than just me trying to. I mean, I can do shtick, but I just feel like I'm better when I'm bouncing off people.
Yep. And I've tried to parlay that more into comedy of like actively being engaged with the audience and, just
Yeah.
being more present and stuff. So,
She can,
Ginny, do you do a lot of crowd work?
no, I don't. And
Okay, I didn't think
the,
so.
well, the reason, I mean, I would like to, I mean, I do try to engage them in
I'm
some way.
afraid you'd run out and kill him, stab him,
You know what it is to
laugh
do,
or I'll beat the living shit out of you.
or I'll shoot myself in front of you.
yeah.
No, the thing about crowd work, the only way you can learn it is to do it. And when you have a certain amount of time, I don't want to waste my minutes, seeing if I
Right,
could do
right.
crowd work. But I mean, I'm getting better at it, but no, it's a real skill set, and she's got it. Meryl and I went to Palm Springs for that Valentine's Day show,
Okay.
and before the show, we went out together. We were trying to just go and have a dinner, and nobody would let us in because you needed a reservation. It was all couples, and they wanted us to be a couple, or they weren't going to let us in if we were just two friends.
It was very gay
Right.
vibe in Palm Springs on Valentine's Day night.
And I'm not gay, but I can pass,
I was
definitely.
just gonna say, I had quickly, we're together.
Yeah,
I'm wearing
that's what we had to
sneakers
do
right now.
that.
Yeah, I think people are surprised that we're not
Yeah,
lesbians. Yeah.
yeah. And
Right. Okay.
so finally we just acted like a couple, and we kind of bickered over the table, and then we got seated. So after this, like at the Palm Springs show, she gets up and she tells that story. And I'm not at the point where I would feel comfortable just shooting.
Well, you know what? Again, you guys are kind of playing, and I swear to God, I have this written down, but you're like playing into my hands here because when you two are together, stuff happens.
Well, like,
Do you
yeah.
know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. We're both like very comical, and I think we're.
We're
Yeah.
both very
Do you know what
scattered.
I'm making reference to?
I mean, I hope it's not like sex or
No,
anything.
no, the Labor Day video. I asked, and
Oh,
again, that was not about me as much as just showing the diversity of all the comedians I've had on. And where's the harm? And just send me a little clip. And you two sent me a clip.
Did something happen?
no, you're just sweating.
I'm sweating.
No, I
Do
was.
Oh,
you
I was sweating.
remember? Do you remember the clip?
We were
No.
outside of UCB.
Oh yes. Oh my God, that was after one of our classes.
It seemed like the police were coming.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Oh my God, the police were coming. Yes.
Why? We weren't supposed to be.
Am
Oh
I?
yeah, yeah. It was like
But Meryl, you were like, we're leaving. We're no problem. No
yeah.
problem. We're leaving.
That's right by where UCB is, and like actually right across from where Scientology is, and so there's always like such weird things happening on that block.
Well, and that's why when you're there talking about, I said, these girls, when you guys get together,
Yes.
what was the backstory there? Was someone actually coming down the?
Yeah, but
You were in
I
front
doubt
of
that.
a venue, and we're trying to show like you were playing that venue, right?
Yeah.
Oh
No.
yeah.
Oh, right.
I think
Right.
it said you like can't shoot here if you're not part of like UCB or something. Or
There was
yeah.
some reason, and yeah, and I mean, they weren't going to arrest us, but we were being told not to
You
film.
We
were
were gonna go
being
to
told to
improv
move
deal.
along.
Yeah, and we quasi listen to like everyone. We barely, if we want to listen, we do.
Um, Meryl, you recently played a show called "I'm a Really Good Person."
Yes, that was so fun. Even just the fact, the insinuation of that makes you laugh so hard, says something.
Well,
Really?
I just thought that maybe
Yeah.
Ginny and I couldn't do that show. At
Yes, you
least I
could.
couldn't do that show.
You know what? If you know Meryl, she shouldn't do that show
Exactly.
either.
I have some people fooled. Everyone's like,
It was a benefit for some soup kitchen or something, wasn't it?
yeah, the Altadena Soup Kitchen was it, which was
Right.
another, the community of Altadena is one of
Really?
the really affected ones
Are
by
you
the
proud
fire.
of me? The research I've done on this one? What do you think?
I love this. I love this.
Ginny, you're up. Here we go. I posted a picture of Tom Peterson from Cheap Trick.
Oh,
And you immediately were like, "Hey," and I sent you the Cheap Trick story because I have a backstory with Cheap Trick. I
Right.
sent
He was on the
three
road with.
episodes back long before when I was doing your comedy minute by myself, and I would tell
Cool.
my stories from the road. And I was wondering, do you have more either Tom or another rock story you want to tell?
Did I tell on the other one my Tom Peterson story?
No, you never told because in other
Oh,
words, you were so, and I tried to get it out of you. I was trying to figure out. Well, you said something about the. Go ahead, just you do it. Tell them.
okay, I may have told it, but so when I was in high school and college, I would
By the
interview
way,
every.
Meryl, for you don't know who Tom Peterson is, do you?
I know what is he the lead singer of Cheap
No,
Trick?
he's that's Rob
Bass
and
bass bass
the
guitar
bass
player from
player.
Cheap
Oh,
Trick.
okay.
Okay.
I know who Cheap Trick is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
Okay.
cheap.
Good. Good. Good.
Okay.
So when I was in high school and college, because what I'd wanted to do was I wanted to be a writer for Rolling Stone, and so in high school, like I would, I did a story on Patti Smith and Lou Reed, and this was in Wausau, Wisconsin. So I was ahead of my time. But anyway, I was very good at figuring out when bands came in where they would stay. I don't know how I did this, but
Right.
and then so my two best friends, Denise and Carol, and we drove up to Minneapolis because Cheap Trick was going to be there, and we knew when their tour bus was going to pull up. So we were there, and we just waited for them to come out. We just stood in front, and I never wanted to like make out or have sex with them. I wanted always to interview them or something. And my friends were more interested. Well, if they had want put it this way, they never paid that type of attention to me. It was always my two friends. So Rick was out there and he was being Rick, he just didn't look at us. But then Tom comes out of the bus and he looks over at us and he says to me like something like Suki. It's like he calls me a Japanese name, and my hair was dark there, and I actually did look very Asian. I didn't try to, I just did.
Right. Right.
And so he goes, "Wow, how are you?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm fine." And then he walks in, and I figured I was some person that he knew in Japan because they played Japan.
Oh my God.
But I thought he must have not liked them that much because he
Yeah.
just goes, "Hey, Suki," like
See you.
I'm in Minnesota now. So he walked in, and then Robin came up to us and just started talking like, "Hey, how are you?" And I was smoking then, and he goes, "Why are you shaking?" And I'm like, and I go, "I'm not shaking." And I was just like, "I'm not shaking. I'm not shaking." And yeah, so that was
That's
it.
great. That's
I
great
love that.
stuff.
It's like almost famous, that movie. Like,
Well,
yeah.
and okay, Meryl, you're up next. Here we go. I'm trying to balance this out. You posted a picture of David Johansen.
Oh,
Yes, with the New York Dolls,
Yeah,
right?
and Buster Poindexter hasn't been seen either.
Oh no.
I'm
Yes,
sorry.
that was where before this, my first job in California was I worked for a music venue called the Belly Up in Solana Beach. Cheap Trick would play there, Foreigner, all those bands.
Sure, sure.
And I got to meet, my job was like, I was the one that was getting them the green M&Ms. I would have an intern to sort the M&Ms. I wouldn't do that myself, but I would buy it for them. And I got to podcast with a lot of people like Robert Cray and Mick Fleetwood and all that stuff.
Robert
So
Cray. Wow.
he was so
Mick
nice.
Fleetwood.
He was
Mick
one of my
Fleetwood. That's
favorite.
huge. Fleetwood
Yeah,
Mac.
Jimmy Buffett, like we had all this, CeeLo, all these people
Wow.
that would come through. And I got to meet and podcast with them. And so I forgot about that, but I always like to look at old pictures of just to remind myself of like the music days. I think we all share, Ginny and I and a few other of our friends, there's a few comedians that like we almost love talking about music, like almost more than comedy too. Like we like
Well,
music
you're
is,
talking to the right guy.
yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I think like music definitely is even more of a passion for me sometimes than like the art of comedy, or for you it's probably the same, or
And Ginny, I
Yeah,
think you can appreciate that because you being like when I interviewed you the first time, I was really nervous because you used to do that for a living.
right. It's funny. I'm more nervous as a person not interviewing them than I was as an interviewer because when you're interviewing somebody, they're accepting that. I mean, they're not forced into it, and so that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to ask questions. So, like when I was interviewing Harrison Ford or Jeff Goldblum or Nicolas Cage, I
Right.
wasn't intimidated because we were both there for a reason. But I wouldn't go up to any of those people if I saw them, on the street
Yeah.
and hi, I'm Gini Sikes. Can we talk? You know, so
Well, yeah, a
um,
lot of the pictures like of mine, the artist is always real nice because I was promoting their record. They didn't really.
Yeah.
That was why they liked me.
well, the other thing about you is you worked with them, you know, like you worked, you know, on the road crew with some of these guys. And
No, I
so,
was actually doing promotion. I went to radio
oh,
stations. I would go
oh,
to radio stations and beg them to play Dave Matthews. And then when the show would come, I'd take the program director and everyone
Mhm.
back to meet them and all
oh,
that, do the
there
meet
you
and greets and
go.
all that bullshit.
So, I mean, like, I mean, I wouldn't go up to Dave Matthews, you
Yeah,
know,
no,
so.
no. Yeah, it's just crazy. But look, I want to make sure because we're going to try and get a fresh comedy minute out of you guys. I want to make sure that we covered everything. If there's something coming up that both of you want to talk about or individually, what you got coming up?
Well, coming up,
You have a cool show coming up.
do I? Oh, I'm gonna do Chocolate Sundays, which is the longest running uh, black sh comedy show. It's at Laugh Factory, and what they do, well, it's like an audition. You you put your name in, and then you wait a couple of years, and they call you to do 3 minutes, and then you do your 3 minutes right before the real show. And if they like you, they might call you back in 2031 to do 5 minutes. But
That's
yeah.
That's
that's
huge. It's really
crazy.
a big show though. People, I know she talks it down and there's a waiting list, but it's like a show that lots of people dream on of being on. Like it's a huge show, a long running show. So
Which
Well,
just makes it
you know
more.
what? And Jenny, we're going to do everything we can. I'll promote everything I can. You know, I'll do anything I can to help you guys.
Thanks.
I love the world. Think the world of you guys. I really
thank
do.
you. We
Thank
love
you.
you.
Yes, and
All
you're
right, we're
kind.
going to do it real quick. I know, Meryl, I'm going to start with you because you said you got a fresh comedy minute for me, right?
Yeah, it's more of like a little quick story about
That's
us.
okay. It's good. I'll do an introduction. Meryl Klemow, your comedy minute. Go ahead.
Woohoo! I'm so happy that I have my partner in crime, Ginny, here because my
Yep.
comedy minute was about a recent trip that we just took to Palm Springs together, the aforementioned. You'll hear more about it, but we went to Palm Springs to do a show on Valentine's Day. We both kind of bombed a little bit here and there, and then to make ourselves feel better, the next day we were walking around Palm Springs and we both got sky high ice cream cones with like, the kind of like three scoops and cherries and whipped cream and a cone and everything. And we were walking around and Ginny and I were both about like halfway through the second cone before we both at the same time were like, I'm actually lactose intolerant and like horrible things happen to me when I eat dairy. And like almost as though like a ticker went off, immediately my throat closed, my sinuses like went bad. Ginny's eyes, like her eyes get red and they start closing. And so the whole next week, her and I were both like totally down for the count. I truly had to like cut out dairy for 3 weeks and I was like about to go to the
How were
ER.
you guys thinking?
We
We
did the
just
same thing.
we just were like, because both of us like, well, let's get ice cream, and
Yeah.
then it was like, well, let's
It was
get
2
more
feet
ice
high.
cream, and it was like like a drunk who goes and
Yeah.
but
We
the
were
thing is,
pressuring each
it
other.
also was a really hot day.
Oh yeah.
She's sitting there, and
It was
this
melting
it's
everywhere.
like literally a river of ice cream.
I I have quit drinking. I haven't drank for 47 days, and you know what's in my
Right.
freezer? Ice cream.
Yeah.
It's funny you guys would say that. And now okay, I'm not drinking, but I'm eating ice cream. I'm getting fat as hell.
Right.
Are
Same with you,
you
buddy. But
are
like,
you
yeah.
lactose intolerant?
I don't give a shit. It don't matter. It don't.
So we were.
I'm a little gassy, I'll tell you that.
We can feel it from here. No, and same thing is like, yeah, we both had such different reactions where Ginny gets like a rash on her eyelids and her eyes close, and then mine
Right.
is like I balloon out and my sinuses happen. And for some reason, we both like didn't speak up until we got to like the absolute middle of the cone.
Great,
And
great comedy minute.
that was
Thank
the
you.
night we tried to go out together, and nobody wanted to see us.
Oh yeah, okay.
Surprised we were allowed back in Palm Springs after that experience, but it's
Ginny, I
good.
don't know if we have enough time. How much time do we
No,
have? Do
this
you
is
have
That's
ours.
fine.
We wanted to share. It's a
Oh,
co-comedy.
that okay. It was a combo. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, listen, I think the world of you guys.
We think the
You
world
know
of
you're
you.
welcome back anytime, whenever you got something coming.